Hi, a very warm welcome to all the distinguished co-panelists and the audience. So today we are here to discuss the challenges for EV adoption, which range from various factors which involve charging infrastructure to battery technology to how to increase the ingress in the rural sector. So it is a known fact today that EVs have crossed the stage of a prototype to becoming a main flag runner in the mobility space. So that tipping point has already been crossed. To deep dive into the challenges which are relevant for scale up, it's important to understand who all are the important stakeholders of this ecosystem, and then further deep down into the challenges which are being faced by these stakeholders. So I would quickly like to summarize. The entire chain starts from the product. So the product is under the ownership of the OEM today. And of course, the product comprises of sub-components like the battery pack, the motor drivetrain, etc., which are the key constituents of the product here. Then we arrive at the financiers, who are the enablers of deployment of these products. Then we have the customers eventually, who are today fleet operators, who are taking the burn of actually deploying the fleets and enabling further sub-constituents like a DCO, like an independent driver, to actually use the vehicle. And thirdly, lastly, we have the insurance companies and the infrastructure providers, which are the charging infrastructure providers, who are again the infrastructure enablers for this entire deployment. Then we have the government, who is an enabler in turn, who could be helpful for formulating the various policies which could accelerate these deployments. So I would like to now ask the co-panelists, which would be starting from Pragya here, to actually highlight what are the core problems which an OEM faces in, first of all, scale up in terms of technology, and actually delivering a product which is answering the requirements of the customer.
When we talk as an OEM, what are the challenges we face in terms of product, technology, and customer? I would like to summarize it into 3 points. Why to buy, what to buy, and how to buy. When we talk about why to buy, there is still a perception in the customer's mindset about EV, range anxieties, charging infrastructure, the technologies. And this perception specifically pertains in the rural market. So it's very important as an OEM today to work on the education aspect, the educational aspect of the technology as well, apart from the regular services of creating a product and providing the services. So that will solve the question of why to buy. What to buy? What to buy is the core duty of an OEM to make products according to the Indian infrastructure. Today, EVs are perceived as suitable for the tier 1 infrastructure and not too suitable for the tier 2 or tier 3 infrastructure. That may be in terms of the build, the body design, or the range. In rural markets, if we see today, people still have to go to the city level markets to purchase their daily stuff or their daily earnings. That kind of range they need in their product. The tier 2, tier 3 do not have a charging infrastructure today. Their roads are not well furnished. So we need to make products to convince them that this is the right thing to buy. So OEM needs to focus to make the products in those lines. That's also a question of what to buy. And we talk about how to buy. When we talk about how to buy, the major role in this comes about the finances. For the rural markets, it's very important for them to get their product at an affordable total cost of ownership. They do not have an upfront, say 70,000 to 1 lakh rupees to pay today. Even we see the upfront cost of EVs is quite higher than the ICs. Easy financing solutions, easy interest rates, and quick financing solution, what will solve the problem of how to buy in the rural market. So these are the 3 challenges we as an OEM face today in the early adoption of EVs. Thank you.
Thanks for enlightening us on this, Pragya. So just a follow-on question here. It's important to understand the role of the financiers in enabling, like the last point which you mentioned, how to buy. So and of course the customer's perspective also, that what to buy. So I would understand that there is an interlink in between the two, which is, first of all, the financier is also today apprehensive of actually taking a risk on financing the EVs because of the apparent challenges which are there, that what is the residuary value, what would be the resale value of the vehicle, what is the degradation of the vehicle or the critical components like a battery pack. How can an OEM address these points for the financier, which would actually help the financiers make EV financing mainstream and also reduce the total cost of interest rates, etc., which would bring the costing for the end customer down?
As the panelists in the previous panels also explained, that today we are comparing, there are two parts of the product. One is the battery and one is the product in itself. The battery is the fuel, which is the major degradation that happens over time, and where I say the finances are not able to estimate the degradation or the value, the residual value. But the product, a good quality product, still remains intact. We can compare still that product to an IC engine. So I would say we need to work more closely, the financiers and the OEMs, to understand the battery degradation. The product still remains intact. So we need to work out and formulate something related to that the battery remains as an additional fuel and the product is seen for the financing. So coming up with the battery swapping stations, the external charging infrastructure, do we have a financing solution today for only the product without the battery? I would say no. When battery is a fuel, why do not we have a solution for financing only the product and let battery be used as a swapping center or a external fuel, I would say? Why are we going on financing the battery when we already have solutions upcoming in the market on that? So I would say financiers need to work on those lines, obviously closely with the OEMs. I need to find out a solution because this is a major challenge in the adoption of EVs, especially in the tier 2 and tier 3 market. You know, one of the factors is also these tier 2 and tier 3 markets do not have enough income level, or I would say enough documentation as compared to a person in NCR. So that is where we need relaxation in terms of financing solutions to these customers as well. And of course, all this together will help to accelerate the EV adoption and the EV ecosystem.
Fair enough. Thank you, Pragya. I think we'll touch base upon the relevance of warranties in a subsequent position right now. So I would actually get to Mr. Kamdar right now, who's joining us remotely, to understand, I think, one of the points which you highlighted right now, that what are the relevant constituents to understand degradation of the battery packs, and what are the critical constituents which would help in elongating the life of the battery packs. So over to you, Mr. Kamdar.
When we talk about elongating the life of the battery pack, the question goes back to the design itself, the raw materials used, the type of cells that we use in the battery pack, in terms of its quality, in terms of how we choose the correct cell for the correct application. That is also very important. You don't need to use a 7,000 cycle cell for a low-speed e-rickshaw, or same way you don't need to use, you need to use a 12C cell for a drone, so on and so forth. So keeping that in mind, choosing the correct cell for the correct application is one, ensuring that you are using the right BMS with the protections in place that ensure that, overcharge, over discharge do not happen. Third is that you are keeping your depth of discharge of the battery at 80% or 85% and ensuring that it doesn't go from 100 to 0 consistently. That ensures that the degradation of the battery pack is controlled. If the cells are managed and the DOD is managed, you will see the battery pack degrading at around 3 to 4% year on year, versus in many packs that you see the degradation being greater than 10 to 15%. Yeah. So these three aspects should control the degradation in a significant manner and should allow you to utilize the life of the battery. Having said that, maintenance and regular upkeep is also important on the battery.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kamdar. So a following question to you on this. So, are the battery manufacturers comfortable in providing a annualized degradation warranty? For example, you mentioned that the degradation in a year would be 3 to 4% of the usable capacity. So, would the battery manufacturers be comfortable? I think that will comfort the OEMs also to provide a warranty, which is that if the usable capacity degrades below 95%, considering a factor of 3 to 4%, then the battery pack would be replaced, it would be repaired, it would be refurbished. What will happen? And second of all, what will be the bankability of this warranty which would be provided by you as a battery manufacturer? So tomorrow, for example, apart from the contractual obligation, would there be any other bankability aspect on which the OEM can rely and then further on pass it on to the financiers and the end customer as a comfortable factor?
Two things. We are already giving this warranty in the market as a brand. Neuron is. We don't know if it is a market norm or everyone is following that. That would not be my place to comment. But our company is giving degradation warranties to many clients. We are working with a couple of leasing players who are buying the batteries from us and leasing out on a pay-per-use model in the market today. Their entire model depends on the fact that the batteries will work over 5 years. Luckily, in the leasing model, they don't swap it. It's just that the user pays on a daily basis or weekly basis or monthly basis based on their model that they have created. So for that use, yes, we give a warranty. We give a degradation warranty. In fact, we have given for rickshaws at around 4%, 5% year on year. And in case the degradation is beyond that, we definitely support and honor. We even replace the battery packs if required. That is one. Having said that, the degradation, the reasons for degradation should be found out. So these packs are built with IoT and they collect data. So keeping that data is available to us on a regular basis. So it is very important to know the reason for degradation. If the reason for degradation is misuse or inappropriate handling, if those cases are leading to degradation, then it will not form part of the warranty.
So could you just highlight what are the misuses and abuse cases?
It could be, the battery pack is opened, someone has worked on the battery pack, opening the battery pack, something has been done there. Battery pack is physically damaged or it's dropped multiple times. Something of this sort of physical impact has been done.
Physical damage.
So these kind of things, then they will not. We give warranty for manufacturing defect. We cover the defect. If on a genuine basis the battery is not working and not giving the range, then we are happy to give the warranty for it. There is no problem.
Thank you. So, Pragya, follow-on question to you that are these degradation warranties passed on by the OEMs to the customers? For example, if my battery is today at 100% usable capacity, if the degradation happens in the usable capacity by 3%, 4%, then will the OEMs help me out with sorting this issue?
Yes, definitely. The beauty of this EV industry's warranties are we provide warranties in a different kind of statements on different levels here. Not only the manufacturing defect on the component level is covered, but this degradation warranty is passed on to the customers and that are clearly documented in the owner manuals and the service manuals they have. There is a fixed degradation that happens at the battery level that happens year on year and that is well stated to the customer. Anything beyond that is definitely covered under warranty for 3 years today.
Fair enough. So I think if the OEMs are giving these comfort, then of course the financiers also could rely on a back-to-back basis and try to bring down the cost of financing, and that could effectively make the EVs more affordable and thereby increasing the deployment. So now I would like to ask Rahul that Rahul, we would be questioning you on two grounds today actually. So you wear two hats. One is like as an ecosystem provider in terms of setting up the charging infrastructure, and of course as one of the largest deployers of electric vehicles today. So first we'll get to you with respect to what are the challenges which you face as a user of electric vehicles in deployment, that what impact your total cost of ownership. So firstly, if you could highlight on this aspect.
And I think learnings came from our deployment. I think we are close to around 1,500 vehicles that we have deployed all over India and more than 7 to 8 cities as of now. one of the critical challenge, and that is also a challenge to be solved for the EV adoption, right? So this is a charging infrastructure. It's known to everyone, but how we are solving it is we are creating hubs with respect to the requirement of our customers, which is Amazon, Flipkart. What is their coordinates for the charging infrastructure requirement? Where exactly we can place that charging infrastructure hub best to solve that requirement so that it can be solved for multiple customers, not just for the one, right? Bringing down the cost of charging infrastructure. Second challenge is basically the cost of financing. Now it is an individual challenge also because it depends upon a balance sheet also, what kind of balance sheet you have. But what we are doing is basically we are collaborating with the different financiers at this point of time, both for loan and the lease part. You are obviously one of those players who are solving this challenge along with us. So bringing down the cost of capital, because we are looking at from an unit economics perspective, how driver can make money, because driver is another big challenge into our ecosystem because they have to stay and they have to drive the vehicles. So that retention of the driver has to be important. And also considering the case that customers like Flipkart, Amazon will be demanding each year to reduce their logistic cost.
Correct.
So I think charging infrastructure, financing cost, and driver retention are the three problem statements that we are trying to focus upon at this point of time.
So any particular factors which you think contribute towards the downtime of the vehicles specifically when we talk about? Like what are the core challenges in operating the vehicles? Any factors which are common to electric vehicles? For example, you operate a fleet of 3-wheelers, 4-wheelers. So is it the quality of the assets today? It has to stabilize. So what are the asset-related challenges which specifically you face today?
I think thanks, Jayant, for asking this question. It's a very important point. And a point, if you solve this challenge, it will also relate to your sustainability and sustenance for the business model. So what we are doing is basically we have a separate asset team who is focusing on, the kind of asset being absorbed into the fleet. We do the trials with almost all the OEMs, and there is a proper diligence checklist which is checked before absorbing that vehicle. That is point number one, initial stage. Second is basically the platform and the thing that is getting developed. More and more data is coming from the vehicles, right? It is important to analyze, to determine in advance, that your vehicle can break down. Predictive maintenance and all of those things are getting incorporated. So this is another angle that we are trying to focus through tech. As of now, OEMs are providing their own telematics device, but the problem and the challenge that we have seen is that not a lot of this data is correct at this point of time. And I am being very blunt over here because this is one of the critical problems that we face. But we are trying to solve it through our own tech integration. And I think this is going to be the biggest differentiator between the fleet operators, as you see on ground right now, and the fleet operators 5 years down the line who will be making money into this business model.
Fair enough. Rahul, I think as alt, we resonate with this problem which you have mentioned right now. So the problem is twofold. One is that the access to data is also restricted. And the second is, of course, the accuracy and correctness of data.
Absolutely.
So I fail to understand what is the reason for this blocking of access to data by the OEMs today. Because what we also believe in alt mobility as a company is that if we have transparent access to the vehicle data points, that would be very relevant for the key stakeholders who are depending on that particular vehicle to increase the uptime of the asset. So it's important for us to evaluate the various data points to actually do a preventive maintenance also, or a transparent insight into what is the exact health of my vehicle. So if that insight is evaluated by anyone, like for example, we also have a platform which completely evaluates the millions of data points of each and every single vehicle. We have developed the logics which also help in understanding the battery degradation rates and causes and factors, and estimate the balance usable life of the battery. So if that kind of confidence is reposed in us as financiers and then in turn to our debt lenders, then that will actually help in unlocking lower cost capital and increasing the deployment. So this access would actually benefit the OEMs itself, because that will help in increasing the volumes and numbers, which is a very critical factor for the OEMs as a business case. And of course, for the fleet operators, the benefit would be, and for the drivers, the benefit would be that the downtime of the vehicles would be restricted to the bare minimum, and they would not lose out onto the precious revenue which they lose out today, even when the vehicle breaks down for a single day also. Because we all are aware that the end customers are also squeezed in for the margins. So the monthly payouts which are paid by the end customers are also quite limited, and they also put in a continuous stress that you have to bring down the monthly payout cost, of course, which you would be facing as a fleet operator today.
Right.
So that is one of the points. Now, we would like to also touch base on the charging infrastructure. So I understand that, first of all, your company is setting up charging infrastructure for the captive consumption. But our large players like yourself are also open to set up the charging infrastructure, which is an open source for the outside fleets also. And if so, what is the largest pain point in investment in charging infrastructure? So to my knowledge, best what I can think of is that no customer is today willing to provide a take or pay on the charging infrastructure. So if the charging infrastructure is unutilized, no one is paying a minimum monthly amount for that particular charging infrastructure. So that again in turn discourages the financiers from financing the chargers. So if you could evaluate a little bit more on that.
Sure. Again, a very important point, Jayant. So charging infrastructure, okay, so the way we are solving it is basically we are not just dependent as of now on our own charging infrastructure. We are open to somebody else's setting up the charging infrastructure for us, because our main investment goes to the vehicle. So as long as we are getting the right set of charging infrastructure at our own terms and condition and uptime, we are open to using third-party CPO charging stations also. And for that, we are also doing a lot of strategic partnerships presently. Coming to the question of utilization, and again, this is, I think utilization is one of the important parameters with respect to the vehicles and with respect to the charging infrastructure as well. The way I look at it, initially I think it will, see, fleet demands is different from, public usage of the charging infrastructure. That will be kind of an intermittent usage. What is happening in fleet is, as of now, there is a one-shift operation, and because of which, a lot of these vehicles are getting charged overnight and also parked at the charging hub. And in the morning time, driver is coming for picking those vehicles and going for their duties and delivering goods from one place to another. So I think, again, that question comes to the right set of data, how well we are analyzing it. Is there a window open for me where I can open my public, where I can open my charging network to the public for increased utilization? So that is, those kind of questions I have to answer. But I think the market is also changing, and these things will eventually come with time, where fleet operators or any CPO will be saying, hey, I am using only 8%, I'm only getting 8% utilization with one charging cycle for my charging station over a month. Why not open it from 2 to 6 p.m. for public charging also, or why not associate with some other fleet operator for that kind of duration? But for that to happen, I think a lot of these applications will also have to develop over a period of time. Two-shift operation, daytime usage, nighttime usage, and all of that has to happen. So that is where you can get into the efficiency of utilization.
Of course, increasing the charging utilization is one of the very key points which will actually give comfort to anyone. But today, in this stage, when you go in for the deployments, do you face challenges in getting capital for investing on deployment of chargers?
See, as of now, I think we initially invested a lot of equity capital, very frankly, that is when, a lot of financials were also not open into the investment of the charging infrastructure. So definitely this is one of the area which also concerns financials, that how to get a right kind of utilization on the charging asset and how the person who is setting up the charging infrastructure will be able to pay him, right? So as of now, what I can understand is that I was in touch with Irida, Sidby, and all these players. So they have a scheme available for funding of the charging infrastructure, specifically Irida, if you look at their document, right? So now it has become much more open, much more easier to get a financing for charging infrastructure. If you have the right set of business model, if you can assured the right kind of utilization on your charging infrastructure to the financiers. If you can show that, I think that the financing is available, but I would not say that it's a system as of now which is completely open to, you will not be getting huge amount of funding for your charging infrastructure at this place. Problem is even more worse for a public charging infrastructure as compared to fleet charging, because fleet charging you are still able to justify the utilization as compared to the public charging, and that is where you see that public charging infrastructure has been set up, but there is no maintenance for that.
I think, yes, you have highlighted a very, very key point. So until and unless we have adequate access to finance for investment onto charging infrastructure, the core problem of the charger deployment would not be solved. And the only challenge which the financiers today face is that no one is ready to provide a take or pay or a minimum utilization guarantee on the charging infrastructure. So it's kind of become like a chicken or egg situation. So what my company is doing to solve this problem is also something that we are aggregating the demand. So with aggregating the demand, we are able to actually give contracts to the charge point operators and give them minimum offtake guarantees. So the moment we issue these minimum offtake guarantees to the charge point operators, their charging infrastructure becomes financeable from any debt financing institution. So that is a kind of change which we are trying to bring right now in this space.
That's a good concept.
Yeah, absolutely. So now I think I would also request Prassann to help us understand that we, in order to increase the deployment or adoption, it's also important to understand the full life cycle management of an electric vehicle. So what is your thought or what is your suggestion on how to increase or how to make the end of life management more efficient?
Hi, this is Prassann from Recyclekaro. Everyone is talking today about like deploying the technology or implementing more EV vehicles on the road or providing a finance to it. He rightly said that end of the life vehicles, what will happen to them? Because today, as per 2023 data of Vahan, there are more than 35 lakh electric vehicles on road which are up and running. While within few years, like let's say within 7 years, that is the battery life cycle which we say today for electric vehicles, 5 to 7 years. Within 7 years, those much batteries will be coming. There will be ocean of batteries which needs to be recycled. So vehicles, government has implemented policies, different policies. There were no battery waste management rules till 2022. Everything was categorized under e-waste, electronic waste. While these rules have helped to understand in a better way how the battery waste needs to be managed. So everyone can go and look up on the Central Pollution Board portal. They have clearly mentioned differentiated rules for battery management. While today, the collection, when the batteries or the vehicles come to end of life, people today, they don't have the proper guidelines or knowledge. There needs to be an awareness done around it, like where it need to go. As Recyclekaro today, we get a lot of mobile batteries, laptop batteries, or the batteries which are used in storage towers. And while EV vehicles have just started coming, like warranty replacements or let's say the manufacturing defect batteries, whoever are manufacturing, there is almost 7 to 8% battery rejects at the manufacturing itself. So that is what we have observed when we receive the batteries. So starting from the manufacturing part till the end of the life vehicles, recycling would play an important role, I feel, because most of the critical metals which are used in the batteries, those are today imported, or the batteries are imported itself. Today, big players are thinking about manufacturing batteries in India, like anode grade or cathode grade material, and using the critical metals. But again, there is also news that we have found mines for lithium in Jammu and nickel in Gujarat and all. So it is still like a way forward, and it will take a little bit time to mine these metals. Today what we need is urban mining, I would say. Like these batteries, pool of batteries which will be coming in for recycling, there need to be more players like us who would be actually extracting these critical metals like cobalt, lithium, manganese, and nickel. And this can be supplied back to the battery manufacturers, which will close the loop. And we don't, we would not have to depend on imports anymore. So, yeah.
Thanks, Prassann, for highlighting the importance of recycling and reharnessing and reusing the material, which is critical. And I think with the government's push towards the PLI and domestic cell manufacturing as well, so Indian supply of these materials, which has been reharnessed, would be an important ingredient now. So, but I would just like to also add one more point. So, apart from battery recycling, there is one more step just before that. So some emphasis also should be given towards battery refurbishment, because right after the first life of the battery, there could be use cases for second life, third life before it's eventually recycled. The second life, third life use cases could be either in automotive, either in energy storage. So refurbishment is also a critical aspect. So if we are able to extract the entire revenue from the complete life cycle, then that will eventually help in bringing the cost down.
So yeah, refurbishment is also one of the stage where you need to test the cells who have a good life, because battery pack is made out of different bunch of cells, group of cells, and when we test it out, mostly almost 25 to 30% would be like a good amount of cells which can be used to make a new battery packs. Like you rightly said, secondary usage can be done, and rest of the things can be recycled.
So, Mr. Kamdar, one question to you. Do you think that good quality battery packs, when you innovate in the design, when you innovate on the power electronics, when you innovate on the quality of cells and grouping, sorting, and of course like working with tier 1 cells, then lots of costs are involved. So today, India being a cost-sensitive market, when we talk about the larger set of OEMs in the e-rickshaw space, two-wheeler space, and when you offer the battery packs which are engineered to last longer, is there a pushback on the price point and acceptability of the costs which are relevant for the market? So do you think that is there a trade-off in between the cost expectation and the technology product which is required for increasing the life, safety, etc.?
Yes, there is a definite pressure from the OEM in terms of the price at which they want the pack. The pressure that the OEM gives to the battery pack manufacturer is coming from the fact that the OEM also has to compete in the market at a certain price with the other OEMs. And the EV OEM is not only competing with other EV OEMs, they are also competing with the ICE players. So keeping that in mind, there will be a pressure. However, we see that in the last 2-3 years, there has been significant improvement from the OEM side in terms of understanding the product, in terms of the type of cell. There is significant amount of awareness that has come with the OEMs itself, in terms of their R&D division sitting with us and understanding the type of cell they want to use, the type of BMS they want to use, what features they want in the BMS, how the design should be. So it has become a very inclusive approach, which earlier was not there. So that change has come in. Secondly, we are seeing that lithium carbonate pricing has been falling significantly in the last 1.5 years. That has also helped us find some kind of margin balance or parity in terms of what price at which we should give the OEM and at what price the demand is available in the market. If there is a further correction of 20-25%, you will see lithium and lead being almost similar in terms of the price per kilowatt hour. So once we reach there, I think there will be mass consumption available. If you see the rickshaw segment, which was predominantly lead acid till now, has started moving to lithium significantly. We are getting distributor demands, dealer demands for vehicles which are using lead acid and want to change to lithium in the second year, third year. So we are seeing that demand also coming in. So yes, there is some kind of pressure from the OEM that I think will remain, that exists today in the lead acid play also, with Exide Amaron supplying to the top auto OEMs in the country. But I think there is some form of margin parity that is coming in, and we expect the margins to improve over the next 2-3 years significantly.
Very well said. I think it's a relevant point today that it's a known fact that the prices of lithium have come down significantly. Earlier, when the peak had reached to $140 per kilowatt hours, today we are even sitting at like prices of 70 to 80 dollars per kilowatt hour. So this significantly would also help in increasing the deployments and making the products more affordable. So with this, I think we should wrap up, and would be happy to take up any questions from the audience.